Oh, look at that. I got a javel today. Okay. I'd like to call it the Audit Review Committee to order. Today is Monday, March 2nd at 5:30 p.m. Clerk, please take a roll.
Councilman Andujar,
Present.
Council Vice President Royan,
Present.
Mr. Ritchie, Mr. Connors, Mr. Candelario,
Present.
Mrs. Solano.
Thank you. May I entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the May 5th, 2025 regular Audit Committee meeting? So moved.
Second.
Clerk, can you please take a roll?
Councilman Andujar,
Yes.
Council Vice President Royan,
Yes.
Mr. Connors,
Yes.
Mr. Candelario.
Yes.
At this time, I would like to open public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment on agenda items only? Seeing none in the crowd. Clerk, is there anyone online?
There's no public comment online.
At this time, I would like to close public comment. Moving on to new matters before the committee. I guess we have a preview of the preliminary audit fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025 by Clifton Larson Allen. Anyone here from Clifton Allen Allen? Nobody's here. They will be on the next agenda at 7 p.m., 7:30, I believe. Are there any comments and questions from anybody on the committee? Seeing none, moving on. May I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Connors. All in favor, say aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. We are adjourned.
Safety Services and Licenses Committee to order tonight. Clerk, please take a roll call.
Councilwoman Graziano,
Present.
Councilman Ritz,
Present.
Councilman Canty, Councilwoman Baziri, Councilman Aguilar,
Present.
Council Vice President Ryan,
Present.
Council President Wall.
Here.
Could I please have an approval of the minutes from February 2nd, 2026?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, could I have a roll call vote?
Councilwoman Graziano,
Yes.
Councilman Ritz,
Yes.
Councilman Andujar, Council Vice President Ryan,
Yes.
Council President Wall.
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda is public comment for matters appearing on the docket tonight. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak tonight on agenda items only? Tom, is there anyone online that would like to speak?
A reminder, please use the raise hand function. I see no public comment.
I'm going to close public comment now. Yep. Next on the agenda is a Class BV liquor license. This is a new one, and this is G and MK Corp. Located at 146 Gansett Avenue. Is there anyone here from that business tonight that would like to come up to the agenda, state your name and your address? And if there's anything you'd like us to know.
My name is Tong Kim. Tongkim. Tong Kim. I don't know
Okay.
what.
Tom, did he say his address? I couldn't hear. Was-
146 Gansett Avenue.
Okay. It looks like all your paperwork is in order tonight,
Yep.
and you're looking for hours Monday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Is that correct?
For now, yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Andahar?
To our city solicitor, there's been alcohol on that premises before, correct? This license has been in existence for a long time. With
Yeah.
alcohol, correct?
Yeah.
No, this is a new license from what? This is a new license.
I know, but at that location, there's been,
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know where this address is.
okay. No, I have no problem. I'm glad you're opening. I know they was closed for some time.
Yeah.
I'm very, happy that it's coming back to the neighborhood. A lot of local people in the area missed it. So I wish you the best. And if we could be of any service to you, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you.
Councilman Graziano, did you have a question?
Thank you. Was this BYOB before and now you're seeking a license for liquor?
No, it was a full liquor license. I was there 22 years and I absent a year. I coming back, reopened it.
Okay,
I own the buildings.
got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Clerk, could I please have a roll call vote tonight?
Councilwoman Graziano,
Yes.
Councilman Ritz,
Yes.
Councilman Andujar,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ryan,
Yes.
Council President Wall.
Yes.
You were approved tonight out of committee. It will be on the next full council meeting agenda because our city is at the cap of liquor licenses. So you can come to the next meeting if you'd like to. Okay? Thank you for taking time to come tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next on the agenda, U Dumpling Cranston, Rhode Island LLC, doing business as Ugly Dumpling at 2000 Chapel View Boulevard. Is there anyone here from that? Hello, please state your name.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Daniel Vieira from Vieira and DJ and Flippo, 50 Park Row West in the fair city of Providence. Appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening.
Okay. I see that we're still waiting for a letter of good standing.
Yes, ma'am.
I do see that the manager was tip certified, but you do not have a certificate of occupancy yet.
That's correct. It should be, we're hoping at some point towards the end of April or May, we'll get the certificate of occupants from the city.
I can't hear him.
Well, if I speak too close, I apologize. We should have the certificate of occupancy sometime the end of April or at the latest, the first week of May,
When were you hoping to open this?
shortly after the occupancy. So in May. Yes, ma'am.
Right, I'm gonna ask for this to be continued to the April meeting to see what we have and if everything's in order, okay?
Motion to continue to the April meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, may I please have a roll call vote?
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nazari?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar? Yes. Council Vice President Lloyd?
Yes,
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Thank you.
see you in April.
You bet.
Next, Class C liquor license. This is a new one, and this is at KJ Amar Venue LLC located at 1016 Park Avenue. Would you please come up to the podium, state your name and your address, and let us know anything you'd like us to know about this?
Good evening, Jenny Alcantara from Latino Tex.
Your name again, I'm
Jenny, Jenny, Alcantara, Alcantara. 801 Park Avenue. And she is a business owner.
Hello, I'm Catherine Gomez. My address is, my business address, 1016 Park Avenue.
Could you tell me a little bit about what your hopes are for this business?
Yes, it's a venue for private, familiar events, where the people can celebrate parties, birthdays, weddings, and nobody is allowed to bring any alcohol because we are the one who gonna apply for the license and we're gonna bring the liquor.
Okay. Have you applied for an entertainment license or the Victorian license to serve food or just the liquor license?
Just the liquor license. The guests, they're gonna bring their own food.
No food will be cooking in the place, in the premises. The guests are going to, well, the food will be served prepared on site from the caterers or guests. They are aware, well, she will present that the food, the cookers or the vendors, they need to be licensed with the full department.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're just doing a little research, okay? Do you plan to have live bands or anyone singing?
Música en vivo. Veo a alguien cantando. ¿Tú planeas hacer eso?
Live DJs, but we don't think about live music, but we need to apply for entertainment music, for entertainment license.
Thank you. Okay, I'm still waiting for a letter of good standings from the state of Rhode Island. Have you requested that?
Yes, we already requested it. They are a little behind. We should get it anytime by the end of this week or next week.
When were you hoping to open?
She is willing to open by the end of March or beginning of January, April, prefer.
So I'm going to ask for a continuing on this so that it gives you time to get the letter of good standings, and then you'll come next month to the meeting. And if
Perfect.
everything's in order then, okay?
Perfect.
Could I please ask, Councilman Andahauer?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would recommend that you also apply for entertainment because you did say you're gonna have a DJ. So since we're gonna continue it, you could apply for the entertainment now. So that way, when you come back, you'll have everything in order.
Thank
So, and you, from what I heard, you are having caterers come in and bring food, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to get that clear so that way everybody's on the same page. So I welcome you, thank you. Make sure next month, come in with your letter of good standing and make sure you apply for entertainment tomorrow. So that way it'll be on the April's calendar, okay?
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
You need a motion to continue?
Yes, could I please have a motion to
Motion
continue?
So moved.
Continue into the April meeting.
So moved.
Clerk, may I please have a roll?
Councilman Graziano?
Yes. I don't
Councilman
think
Ray?
mine's
Yes.
working now.
Councilman Passeri?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar? Councilman Ryan?
Yes.
Councilman Wu?
Yes.
Under show cause is gravel bank license, PJ Keating Company. Councilman Campopiano asked for that to be on our agenda tonight. He has asked me to continue that until our April meeting. So I'm asking for a motion to continue that.
Motion to continue.
Any discussion? Clerk, could I have a roll call?
Councilman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Ray?
Yes.
Councilwoman Passeri?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar? Council Vice President Ryan?
Yes.
Council President Wu?
Yes.
Okay. Committee matters? Okay, committee business carried over. Class BV liquor license, a status update from 39 West Phoenix Plaza, doing business as 39 West and Lounge. Could you please state your name and your address, sir?
Yes, hi, my name is Steve Fonts. The address for the business is 39 Phoenix Ave, Cranston.
Okay. So I am told that you did go in and pay the fine.
That is correct.
Okay. I'm
We-
sorry.
So we received a letter stating for the fine, but however, we were told not to be present on the 2nd of, I believe it was February 2nd. So there was a little bit of a misunderstanding. On that sense, we received a letter stating that you would move forward and give us a fine. We then contacted a few people and we're trying to get on this hearing for today. We still paid the fine and let it like in good standing just to understand that we were not aware we were supposed to be here in December or in January.
May I ask who told you you didn't need to be present?
We had somebody from the city, the police station, and somebody within the city. They were under a misunderstanding as well.
Next time, maybe just call and ask the clerk, because if you're under show cause and they send you.
Well, what's even funnier is in January, I believe it was January 6th, on January 5th, I believe it was a Monday, I believe we were supposed to be here. We didn't know. We didn't receive a letter, not for December or January. We heard on January 5th, which I believe was a Monday night, that we were called and we weren't there. And they said, hey, why weren't you there? We felt that we were actually alienated to some degree because why wouldn't we get a letter to be there? I believe there was a hearing for the feast, for the hours for the entertainment. So we weren't present because we didn't know. And obviously we would have been present because that's pretty big for our business, especially at that time. It's actually the lifeline of our business because in the summertime, it's very hard for our business to survive. And we count on that entertainment for that month to actually carry us almost 4 to 6 months. So we wanted to be there for that. And then on top of that, once we were notified, I contacted the clerk that day and she had stated to me, as long as you get down here before 3 o'clock today and pay the fine, or pay the fee for the liquor license, you're all set. When I came in, well, I asked her, I can't pay the fine because I'm doing it online and it's saying safety committee on pause. Now, my other 2 licenses, the victual and the entertainment, had the same issue, but also somehow it unpaused it then stated the fee. We paid the fee online and everything was fine. For the liquor license, it didn't. It still said remaining on pause. So when I called the clerk and stated that to her, she stated that she's going to lift the pause to let the fee go through online, and then I can pay it either online or come in. I told her I don't want to take any chances. I'm coming right in. I'm paying that fee. So that's what I did. And then the next day, a police officer showed up at the restaurant and stated, "Hey, I'm coming to confiscate your liquor." And that's when I said, "Hey, wait a minute. Let me show you. I have a, this is what we paid. This is the check." And that I contacted the committee. Contacted the clerk. They made a call to the city, the police department. They stated, yes, we have that. The letter must have crossed. There is another hearing on February, I believe, is it 5th? I'm trying to remember the date. Or February 2nd, I'm trying to remember which date they stated. But we were told, don't worry about it. You don't have to go that. You already paid, you're all set. Then we received another visit from the police department stating, hey, you missed that visit. We're going to continue and say, okay, even though you were denied, but you have a fee. That's when we went down to the city again, paid the fee, and said we would like to, obviously rectify this matter. Because if we would have known we were supposed to be here in December, I definitely would have been here in December.
The fine was for operating without a liquor license and serving liquor. I'm going to turn this over to the solicitor because he'll have all the dates that letters went out to you and all the proper information and how long you operated without having proper licenses.
Sure.
Yes, Madam Chair. So I had a conversation with Mr. Fonts, right? A few weeks ago. I think what happened here, after hearing his version, and being mindful of these events as they were unfolding in real time, it does seem there was some type of disconnect here in terms of communication. And I'm not excusing Mr. Fonts or anyone else for not responding to the earlier letters. We sent out many letters, and I'm not here to assign blame and play that game. But what happened here was, when the police went down to 39 West, as they went to several other establishments to seize the liquor, I don't recall precisely who I spoke with. Someone from the police department informed me that Mr. Fonts had basically come into compliance in terms of payment of the fees, in terms of the certificate of good standing, so on and so forth. Now, at that time, I still could have made the decision to seize his liquor because this committee had voted at that time not to renew his liquor license because there was a no-show in January. So technically, even though he came into compliance, he still, or I say he, 39 West did not possess a renewed liquor license. They had met all the requirements. I told the police officer, look, given that, I'm not going to seize their liquor. Don't seize their liquor, okay? I didn't think that was fair given the fact that they complied with everything else and they were on the agenda for February. I think what happened was there may have been a misunderstanding with regard to what I told the police and what they relayed to him. That got translated into, you're all set, you never have to do another thing, which was not the case. Obviously, they needed to still appear in February to see if the committee was going to, at that time, reconsider denying the renewal and then issuing the renewal. But after speaking with Mr. Fonts, it does seem that he tried to act in good faith. There clearly was some disconnect and some miscommunication. I do recall at that time, it was during the holidays, the police were going out, we were seizing liquor from some establishments. I mean, this was all happening in real time, and it was very confusing because everyone was scrambling at the last second. People were coming up with the $2,000 fee all of a sudden. People were coming up with the certificates of good standing. So this was happening in real time, and we were trying to deal with that because, let's face it, seizing the liquor, seizing their inventory, that's a big step. And I didn't want to do it unless it was absolutely necessary. So we allowed 39 West to keep operating based on the representations the police made to me that they were in compliance with the outstanding requirements. So when I spoke with Mr. Fonz, I made it very clear. I said, look, you need to appear before the committee. Okay, that's what they're asking. If you had just appeared even once and you could have addressed the committee, none of this would have happened. He claims he didn't get a lot of the notices and the letters. I'm not going to second guess at this point. All I can say is we sent out several. Perhaps there's some internal problem getting the mail. I don't know. I don't know. But he did pay. He made a sign of good faith. He paid the fine that the committee imposed upon him. I said to him that perhaps, and this is up to the committee, perhaps the committee would reconsider the fine and allow him to apply that $500 to this year's fee for renewing his license. But that's up to the committee. I said that I wouldn't object necessarily to that because he was a gentleman. He did try to comply. I think there was a misunderstanding, but I also told him it's not up to me. It's up to the committee. But that is how this whole event unfolded.
I have a question. How long was he operating without a liquor license?
Roughly about the 30 days between the time that the committee denied the renewal to the time that the committee reconsidered and then granted the renewal in February. So it would have been between the January and February meetings. However long that was, I'm assuming it was about 30 days. That's usually what they
When
are.
did the prior liquor license expire?
December 1st.
First hand I saw up was Councilman Underhill.
Sir, thank you for coming today. I was the advocate to give you a heftier fine because basically you never showed up. I'm hearing now from our solicitor, the miscommunication. I apologize for our end, but as a small business owner, I think on your end going forward, you need to understand that if you ever get served, if you ever get a notice, the first person you should be calling is the clerk's office, not go through third parties so we avoid this. So I want to thank you for coming in today. I want to thank you for keeping your business open, and I will basically go by whatever recommendation our city solicitor gives. That's how I would vote as far as that fine being applied to.
Thank you.
All right, Council President.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of months back, members on this committee in the solicitor's office made kind of a concerted effort to hold the businesses accountable for updating their licenses, and necessary certificates. I've been to your business. I enjoyed it. I'm happy that you do business in Cranston. Though I probably would be the killjoy in this situation where I say I probably wouldn't be in favor of waiving it. There are certain fees that have to be paid if they're late. And we all make mistakes. I've not paid things. I've had to pay late charges on certain things at certain times in my life. It's kind of a reminder. I think you have a responsibility as a business owner to make sure you have the proper license. So I'm happy you're on the right. I look forward to voting to approve it tonight, but I would not be in favor of waiving it this evening.
Councilwoman Graziano.
Thank you, Council Chair. I'm sorry, Chair. So thank you for coming in this evening. I appreciate it, but I think it needs to go all the way back to the beginning, which is you have to keep an open, valid license as a business owner in the city of Cranston. So regardless how many notifications you get, you know, that is part of your doing business in Cranston, is to make sure you have valid licenses. And I think this council worked really hard with the city solicitor to ensure that we are running a safe community for our residents. And I think that's the ultimate goal here. So whatever happened, you know, we can't trace everything back unless I have a full timeline. But I'll have to agree with President Wall. I'm not going to be in favor of waiving anything because all the work that staff does for the city takes a lot of time, and that's that's where the fines are at. And so I can't have it going somewhere else. So I would not be in favor of that.
Okay.
Okay. Councilman Ritz.
Lights on and off, so I'll try and talk loud. All right. You know,
appreciate you doing business in Cranston. You know, it definitely seems like there was some miscommunication here that we had. I would be in favor of what the solicitor offered of using part of the fine towards the fee. I think that's reasonable with everything that went on here. Thank you.
I did. Hi, hello. You know, I, on the full council, I know I don't have a vote here tonight, but on, in this committee, but on the full council, I think, we've been very accommodating to extenuating circumstances. And we also, have given people chance after chance after chance. And I've heard, my grandfather used to say a lot of catchy things. And he used to say this when I was playing cards. If I didn't pay attention, I was going to pay cash. And I think that's pretty accurate, not only when we're playing Hello Jack, but in life. If you don't pay attention, you're going to have to pay cash. And, you know, I think that this may be an expensive lesson, but it's a lesson. And if we go ahead and waive the fine, we're sort of like when when you punish your children and then you acquiesce and unpunish them really fast, they're going to know that they can get away with that again and again and again and again. And perhaps this particular business will not, but what we do here will permeate out to all the rest of the businesses, and then we'll be going right down the same path that we were trying to get off of before. So I appreciate being business friendly, but my way of being business friendly is the people that come to the meetings when they're supposed to, the people that don't have to come to meetings because they simply just pay their renewal fees, and the people that do the right thing every day. You know, and I'm not saying that this particular business was trying to, eschew the rules or shirk responsibility. That's not what I'm saying. But the people that do take the time to do everything the correct way and pay everything on time and come to the meetings when they're summoned, it's a slap in the face to them if we let people not have to pay cash once in a while when they weren't paying attention. So I want to echo the words of Councilman Graziano and our President, Councilman Wall. I think that we need to send a very clear message that these things need to be renewed on time, and it's serious if they're not. Thank you.
Anyone else have any? Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the liquor license.
So
Motion
moved.
to approve. Second.
Any discussion?
Well, actually, Madam Clerk, Madam Clerk, I'm sorry, Madam Chair. This was basically just on for a status. The committee has already approved the renewal at the last meeting. So I think the only motion, if someone were of a mind to make it, and if it gets a second, would be a motion to take the $500 fine and essentially convert that into a credit toward next year's fee, if someone was of a mind to do that. I think that would be the only motion. Other than that, there's nothing to do because it was just on for status. I wanted him to come in to address the committee because several times the committee wanted to speak with Mr. Font. So that's what this accomplished.
Mr. Fonz, I want to say thank you for coming tonight. As you know, I've called you in the past for different issues. I enjoy coming to 39 West, but we all put a lot of work in November, December. I can't tell you how much work the city solicitor put in. He even went to court. I am not comfortable asking for the fee to be given back to you. We can't pay a speeding ticket and then get the money back. There is a thing, votes can be taken, but I'm not sure what the vote would be. So Councilman Anderhauer?
Mr. Solicitor, so your recommendation, if you could just say it on the record, is the $500 fine that was given be added as a credit towards his 2026 license fee, correct?
Well, I don't know if it's so much a recommendation. I believe it's his request. I would not object to that, put it that way. And I think the motion would be to convert the fine into a credit toward the 25-26 license.
Okay, so may I entertain a motion to credit the $500 from the fine to the 2026 license renewal?
Actually, Rose, would that be the, Rose, medical, would that be the 26-27
license.
renewal?
20, okay. So may I
Okay.
entertain a motion to credit the $500 paid for a fine based on our city solicitor's explanation of the situation be credited towards the 2026-2027 license? May I entertain a motion?
Hearing no motion?
Well, is there a second?
I'll second it.
I have a so moved. Is there a second?
So she's
still
the
the
chair.
chair.
You made it and
Okay,
Councilman
second.
Ritz seconded.
All right, you have to call the vote.
I have a question.
Councilman
I
Budano?
have two questions through the chair, probably to.
I think we should do the discussion and then.
Well, yeah,
I
yeah,
called on him for this.
Right, sorry. Through the chair, probably to Rose. How much is a renewal? I'm surprised that we don't know this over here, but
I believe for the full it's 2,500.
Somewhere around that.
okay. Yeah. Um. This is where I like I said, again, I don't have a vote on this committee, but I would have a problem with this. I just want to go on record saying that basically everything I just said, you know, I understand we want to be business friendly. And I don't think that, I think 39 West is a reputable business. I think 39 West is a great place to go. And I think that if it was just one meeting that they missed, my opinion would be different. Because then I think, you know, you can't blame somebody who said something. But when we keep getting notices, it's just different. And I almost feel bad, but you know, I would miss you again because those people who don't find themselves in this particular situation, it's not fair to them.
Council President Wall?
I won't belabor the point. You know my position. I too like 39 West, and I think they're a fine business. I certainly do. But I think the precedent we're setting this evening is you pay a fine and then we put it towards your next license. So essentially, there is no real fine. I think the fine is supposed to be, yeah, deterrent from not renewing your license. And I think if we set this pattern, today we do this because we all like 39 West. Tomorrow, every other business is going to want this. So essentially, the work that you've done, Mr. Solicitor and the chair, is for naught. So I oppose it, and I will not be voting for it. And it's not because I don't enjoy your business, because I do.
Councilman Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Like I said, members of the council, my colleagues, I made that motion because our solicitor that works very, very hard on this, and I said it for the record, I wanted to give you a $2,500 fine. Our solicitor said he wouldn't object, and he's the one that worked his hardest on this. So that's why I made that motion. I feel that if he would have kept his mouth shut and said anything, then, you know, we all voted it down. But since he opened up the door as a small business owner, $500 can go a long way. I'm pretty sure $500 can buy you a few kegs that you desperately need. So that's why I made the motion. So you support it, you don't, you're still gonna live, but I'm doing my part.
Councilman Ritz?
I just feel, you know, if you're speeding and you're doing 20 miles over the speed limit, you get pulled over, your speeding ticket for 10 miles over the speed limit. I think there's still a lesson learned there, and there's some compromise in between. The part I struggle a little bit, it seems like there's some miscommunication on both sides. So I think if the license is 2,500, we give them $500 back. I think it's a fair thing to a business that's been there forever and just a gesture of good faith. But I think it also sets the precedent for other businesses to come in and that we are serious with this. So just my thoughts. Thank you.
Clerk, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Graziano?
No.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Baziri?
No.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
No.
Council President Wall?
No.
So the motion failed. Move on. Sorry, Steve.
No problem. Thank you guys for your time.
Yes. Next on the agenda is Class B liquor license transfer. And we're gonna do it from JMMH Corp. doing business as Ganza Asian Bistro, 736 Park Ave, to Love and Table 88 Corp. And they have everything in order. If you want to come up and speak your name, you can, and your address. Thank you for getting everything in order for tonight.
At 736 Park Avenue, Jinglu.
Nice job. I'm asking for a motion to approve these
So moved.
licenses
So
tonight.
moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you for opening.
Clerk, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Baziri?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Thank you. You're all set. Next is a Victorin new license, and this is going to be on D&M Pizza, located at 41 Warwick Avenue. If you want to come in up and state your name and your address. I did have the honor of speaking to the owner. He has owned this building for many years, used to open and used to run the business. Then he leased it out and he's going to reopen as himself. He is still waiting for his Rhode Island Department of Health inspection. He has applied for it. Do you want to tell us anything?
No, my name is Nicholas Stathakis, and regarding the 41 Warwick Avenue, Cranston.
Okay.
STATHAKIS.
I found out earlier he has no intentions of opening in the next 2 months. So there is time for the Department of Health to come in, do the inspection. So I'm going to ask for a motion to continue this until the April meeting.
Motion to continue.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, could I have a roll call vote on continuing this?
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Baziri?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar? Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Do you want to say something, sir?
No.
All right,
set.
we'll see you next month, and I
Thank
hope
you.
the Department of Health gets out to do your
Thank you.
inspection.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Next is temporary mass gathering, Roadie Food Truck Events LLC. It's going to be located at 1000 New London Avenue. Mike McEntee, I believe he is here tonight. Mike, I have a list of dates here and the hours you're asking for of 4:30 to 10 p.m.
Yes, I've been doing it for this is my 5th year. I was under Ocean State Food Truck Festivals before. Me and Joe parted ways. He opened up a pizza place, so I decided to do it on my own. And I opened up Roadie Food Trucks, and I'm working with Mike from Mulligan's, and we also work with the CPD outreach program, and we do all their community events.
Thank you for picking Cranston for these events.
No problem.
Could I please have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, could I have a roll call vote?
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Baziri?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes,
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Thank you.
you're all set. Have a great night.
It's Michael McAteer, MCATEER, 34 Midland Drive, Cranston, Rhode Island, 02920.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you.
Next on mine is Victorin License GMK Corp. Doing business at Chibi Restaurant, 146 Gansett Avenue. Is there anyone here from that business tonight?
He was here earlier.
Okay, they are still missing the Rhode Island Department of Health, so we're gonna ask for continuance till April.
Motion to continue until April.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, could I have a roll call vote?
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Baziri?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Okay, next is also U Dumpling Cranston LLC, doing business as Ugly Dumpling, located at 2000 Chapel. May I please have a motion to move to continue to next month?
Motion to continue until April.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, could I have a roll call vote?
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Baziri?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Next on the agenda, license renewals before the committee. The first one, secondhand dealer license for Roman Jewelers, located at 1000 Reservoir Avenue. Could I please have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, could I have a roll call vote?
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vasari?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Council Vice President Royan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Okay, next is used auto dealer licenses, R and A Auto at 1171 Park Avenue. Could I please have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vasari?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Council Vice President Royan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
All right, next is Victorin license for Patuxent Village Farmers Market located at One Roads Place. Saturdays from 9 AM to 12 from May through October. Could I please have a motion to approve?
Motion to,
Any discussion? Clerk, could I have a roll call vote?
Councilwoman Graziano?
yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vasari?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Council Vice President Royan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Next on the agenda, Two Angels Tacos located at 154 Gansett Avenue. Could I please have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? Clerk, could I have a roll call vote?
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vasari? Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Council Vice President Royan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Okay, next is mobile food establishment renewal. This is only for our information. Then we got the 3 monthly schedules. Okay, hope everyone had a chance to look at them. Could I please have a motion to accept these into the record?
Motion to accept the
Second.
monthly schedules into the record.
Any discussion? Clerk, could I have a roll call vote?
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vasari?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Council Vice President Royan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Okay, under communications tonight, we have the door-to-door solicitation permits. Anyone have any questions about these at all? Nope, okay, that's for informational purposes only. License approved, subject to, not yet issued. Did everyone have a chance to click on those today? We still have some businesses operating. So I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Say
Aye.
All those favors, say no.
Meeting is adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
I'd like to call the Finance Committee meeting to order Monday, March 2nd at 7:02 PM. Clerk, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Graziano,
Present.
Councilman Ritz.
Yes,
Council
present.
Trafficante, Councilwoman Vaziri,
Present.
Council Vice President Haroyan, Councilman Andujar,
Present.
Council President Wall.
Here.
Thank you. I would like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the February 2nd, 2026 regular meeting.
Go ahead.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please take a roll.
It's not going on. It's on. Councilwoman Graziano,
Yes.
Councilman Ritz.
Yes,
Councilwoman Vaziri,
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan,
Yes,
Councilman Andujar,
Yes.
Council President Wall.
Yes.
Moving on to committee business matters carried over. Ordinance 1-2602, ordinance and amendment of Title III Revenue and Finance of the City of Cranston Code of Ordinances 2025 entitled Chapter 3.12.060, adjustment of the exemption for veterans in compliance with Title 44, Chapter 3, Title 24 of the general laws of the state of Rhode Island, sponsored by 8 of us. I would like to entertain a motion to continue.
Motion to continue.
second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I just want to let our veterans know for the city.
I was
Oh,
just gonna
Mr.
ask,
President?
for the record, we're continuing because we don't have the financials on this prepared as of yet. Is that correct?
Yes, that, and we're also exploring the possibility of obtaining enabling legislation.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Anybody else? Seeing none, I just want to let our veterans know for the city that we're working hard for them, and we will get this resolved. So clerk, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Graziano,
Yes.
Councilman Ritz.
yes,
Councilwoman Vaziri,
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan,
Yes,
Councilman Andujar,
Yes.
Council President Wall.
Yes.
Correspondence, there are none. Public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment on docketed items only? Anyone in the audience? Seeing none. Clerk, is there anyone online?
This is on, right? There's no public comment online.
At this time, I'm closing public comment. Moving on to new matters before the committee, there are none. Moving on to resolutions, there are none. C, real estate tax abatements. I'm pretty sure everybody saw that in their package. May I entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Graziano,
Yes.
Councilman Ritz.
yes,
Councilwoman Vaziri,
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan,
yes,
Councilman Andujar,
Yes.
Council President Wall.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to motor vehicle tax abatements. There are none. Tangible tax abatement. There are none. I'm pretty sure everybody got in their packet tax interest waiver approvals. May I entertain a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Graziano,
Yes.
Councilman Ritz.
yes,
Councilwoman Vaziri,
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan,
Yes,
Councilman Andujar,
Yes.
Council President Wall.
Yes.
Moving on, there are no tax interest waiver denials. Moving to H, tax assessment order review assessed December 31st, 2023. It's informational only. There are none. Council member communications, I will pass the mic over to President Wall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you look at tonight's agenda, and I believe there probably was some miscommunication between the clerk and I probably sent the wrong item in. What it should read on the agenda, and we will not be able to discuss it this evening, it should have read discussion of the monthly report, which ended in the period of December 31st, 2025. Going forward, each finance committee meeting, I want to review the most recent financial report. I think it would be a good practice for us to always keep a handle on what's going on. So I won't have anything to speak on, but I asked the clerk to please put it on the agenda. Going forward, the most recent we'll check which one is the most recent financial report that month.
Madam Vice President.
yep. Going forward, I'd like to ask for that to be printed out and attached to our agenda each month.
Anybody else? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. President. That's a really good idea. So that way we could focus on the monetary issues the city has, and going forward, we may have some good input. So with that, moving on, may I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. We are adjourned.
City Council meeting tonight, March the 2nd, 2026 to order. I ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Luciano,
Present.
Councilman Andujar,
Present.
Councilman Ritz,
Present.
Councilman Trafficante,
Present.
Councilwoman Vaziri,
Present.
Councilman Campiano,
Present.
Councilman Banano,
Present.
Council Vice President Haroyan,
Present.
Council President Wall.
Here. If there, as I look at my agenda, there seems. What do I have to do to make it? The lights on? Is that better? As I said, I'm kind of committed to making sure people have public comment. So if there are no objections, I'm going to take public comment this evening on agenda matters only, if there are no objections. As I look around, no members of the council seem to be objecting. So if anybody in the auditorium this evening would like to make public comment on agenda matters only, please step up to the podium. You'll be given 4 minutes, and please state your name and address for the record. Give them a second. I see none stepping up. Is there anyone online, Tom, who'd like to make public comment? And I know you're going to ask them to put their hand up, et cetera.
There's no public comment online.
All right, then at this point, I'll close that public comment. The first item of business that we're going to consider tonight, and really the only item of business that we are going to consider this evening, will be the discussion and the presentation of the audit and financial statements of the city of Cranston for the fiscal year ending June the 30th, 2025, as it has been prepared by Clifton Larson and Allen LLP. Mr. Stephen Gross is here representing that organization. He has a short presentation, and then I'm going to open up the floor to questions. Mr. Gross, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So I have a slide presentation.
If you raise it, we'll be able to hear it better. Thank you.
How's that? Better?
Much better.
Perfect. So I have a short presentation that I can take you through. So my name's Stephen Gross. I am a audit principal with COA. I'm tasked with ultimately reviewing and signing the engagement. Moving on to slide 2. This is just a legal disclaimer. Moving on to slide 3. My agenda, I'm just going to go over the audit scope and the process. I'm going to go over the audit opinions and the communications required by us. And then I'm going to do a brief financial statement highlight, and then I can open up to questions to the council after that. So my audit scope, essentially I have 5 different reports that I provide to you. Next slide. Thank you. I do a report on the organization's financial statements. I do a report on internal control over financial reporting, which is also known as the Yellow Book letter. I also provide a communication to those charged with governance, AKA the council. I also have a report on internal controls and major programs with compliance for the federal single audit, also known as uniform guidance these days. And then I also have an internal control / management letter that I provide when necessary. Moving on to the next slide. So our audit is a risk-based approach. So we document the city's internal controls, both on the city and school departments. We review revenue recognition to make sure it's appropriate. We make sure that all liabilities are complete and within the financial statements. We review significant estimates, and we also help implement any new accounting standards. So moving on to the next slide, I essentially provide the city with 3 reports. The first report is a generally accepted auditing standards report, which expresses the opinion on the basic financial statements. These are presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, also known as GAAP. The city received an unmodified or a clean opinion. This is the highest level opinion that the city can achieve. We also issued a generally accepted governmental auditing standards under GAGAS, which is Yellow Book. We provide an internal control over financial reporting on compliance with laws, regulations, and contracts and grants. And we had 2 findings related to that. One finding is a carryover finding from prior year, and from what I remember, it's a multi-year finding. It's a finding over the preparation of the schedule of federal assistance, which is your grants. And then we also have a new finding this year related to the distribution of OPEB trust fund assets related to the school department. The third report we provide is a uniform guidance report, which is related to your federal single audit that is required to be issued by March 31st. Moving on to the next slide. These are required communications to those charged with governance, which is required by us, your auditors, to you. Moving on to the next slide. The qualitative aspects of the accounting practice. Accounting policies are consistent with the prior year. There's 3 significant estimates that I've mentioned previously, which is net pension liability, net OPEB liability. These are actuarially determined liabilities. So there's a lot of underlying assumptions that were made there, such as mortality tables, investment returns on assets held in the pension and OPEB trust funds, as well as many other underlying assumptions, such as demographic data that is provided by management to the actuary. Obviously, these are just predictions based on actuarial results, and those liabilities are booked under GASB 68 and 75. The third one is the incurred but not reported, also known as IBNR. These are your healthcare claims that come in around May, June, that are recorded by the insurance carriers, but may not be able to be provided to the city in a certain time just because of when the visit occurs by the employee or when the information is communicated by the healthcare provider to the insurance carrier. So there's some estimates related to that. There's one sensitive financial statement disclosure, which is related to the implementation of GASB 101, compensated absences. This just changed the calculation from a what would the city have to pay out as of June 30th to looking at what will need to be paid out over a employee's life. So if none of their sick time is paid out as of 6/30, but they are expected to vest, we now calculate that vesting opportunity and capture that on the 6/30 financial statements. Moving on to difficulties encountered in performing the audit, there was none. Moving on to the next slide. There was some uncorrected misstatements. One relates to the bond amortization of the bond premium amortization. This is just an amortization method that essentially takes bond premium upfront relative to the straight line that the city is currently using. There was also in the general fund, there's unrecorded property tax interest and lien accruals, which is a balance sheet only entry. It would not have any effect on essentially the P&L of the financial statements. In addition, there's performance bonds that are recorded as a custodial fund, but they should be recorded in the governmental activities under GASB number 84, which is fiduciary activities. Moving on to the next slide. There was one corrected misstatement, which relates to the correction of a distribution from the school OPEB plan. There was no disagreements with management again. There was no consultation by management with other independent accountants. There was no significant issues discussed with management prior to the engagement. And there was no significant findings or issues that were discussed or the subject of correspondence with management that haven't already been disclosed to the council. Lastly, our report contains other documents other than the basic financial statements. If you move to the next slide. These are the required supplementary schedules, the introductory information, as well as the stat tables in the back of the financials. Moving on to the financial highlights. So if you move to the next slide, yep. This is a 5-year trend of your government-wide net position. This includes all of your long-term assets and liabilities. On a government-wide, this is full accrual accounting where most of the time the city is dealing on a modified accrual basis. As you can see, that liability has decreased for the most part each year. There was a little uptrend between 24 and 25 from $249 million deficit to a $258 million deficit. Moving on to the next slide, which is your city general fund balance. So I have two things going on here. The chart shows your fund balance trend over the last 5 years. So you went from 14.4 million 21, and then it increased a little bit between 23 and 24 up to 21 million. And then in 25, it decreased a little bit back down to that $14.5 million range again. As you can see on the left side, it shows your surplus and deficit. So this year it showed a $4.9 million deficit. So kind of offset some of those surpluses in the prior year. Moving on to the school unrestricted fund balance. As you can see, the school's fund balance has decreased over the last few years. That's because fund balance has been utilized by the school department to help balance its budget. That's why you saw a pretty big drop off between 2023 and 2025 by the utilizing of some of that fund balance. And in 2025, there was a $2.9 million deficit that has been reported. Moving on to the next slide. This is just a high overview of your current debt that is held by the city. There was a $50 million bond issue that was recorded during fiscal year 25. The remainder of it was just current year debt schedule payments that were all made by the city. Moving on, this is a high level view of all of the pension and OPEB plans. So all of the pensions that are required and the OPEB for the post-medical and health insurance. For the most part, a lot of the 3 of the plans had increases in the pension and OPEB liabilities, while the other plans had decreases. For the MERS plans and the ERS plans and the teacher survivor benefit, so those top 4 plans, those are state run plans. So you don't have an option of how much to contribute on an annual basis. The state sets those rates with the city and the school department. So those liabilities just fluctuate based on what they tell you that you have to contribute, which those contributions have been made to those plans. For the other 3 plans, the police and fire, and those 2 OPEB plans for the school and the city and the school department, school committee, they have the ability to contribute what they want to those plans. So there's a little bit more flexibility. There is a actuarially determined contribution, which was made for the police and fire plan as well as the city plan, but the school plan chose not to contribute anything this year to that plan. On the bottom, I just wanted to show the funding ratio of the liability relative to both the pension and the OPEB assets. As you can see, the police and pension that's gone up between a couple of percentage points over the last few years. So at the low point, it was around 24.3%, but now it's up to 29%. So it's trending in the right direction at least. For the OPEB plan, as you can see, the city's OPEB plan also has been pretty static. It was around 17.6% in 21, and then it slid down to 15.8% in 2025. For the school fund, they chose to utilize some of those assets to pay current year retiree health insurance and dental costs. So that's why it's decreased from the 9% to the 5% between last year and this year. On to the next slide. These are just all your funds that are currently in negative deficit positions. So for the school bond fund at 70 million and the highway bond fund, 3.2 million, those tend to get cured by the issuance of bonds. So right now you're showing significant expenses in those funds, but that's because the bond anticipation note is being used for the school bond fund. Once that gets permanently refinanced, that 70 million will get wiped off and will be back to a 0 net position fund balance for that. For those internal service funds, the city and the school will have to work on either looking at the working rates or working with their health insurance providers to figure out how to cure those deficits in those two funds. And then with that, I open up to any questions that the council may have.
Gotcha. Pardon? All right, there we go. Thank you, Mr. Gross. I do appreciate, I believe this is your second year with us. Would that be
Yes.
correct? Yes. And thank you for that very thorough presentation. I am going to open up the floor to everybody on the council for if they have any questions. I'm going to start with me in this occasion. I'd like you to, I mentioned this before, as I look at page number 16, the management's discussion and analysis on page 16, they discuss two of the funds, the school fund and the general fund. And if I'm reading it, as I read it online, I saw that we had a deficit of $6.5 million in the general fund. If I'm reading it correctly, I'm a bottom line type person on that last line. And in the school fund, I saw a $3.9 million deficit, if I'm reading that correctly. And when I read and I don't have the school monthly reports, but when I read our city's general fund monthly reports and I went through them, I tracked where we were, surplus, deficit, et cetera. And as the fiscal year closed out, that last report showed us at approximately a $4.9 million deficit. And that seemed to be something you also, that was also represented in your presentation. Can you, in layman's terms, tell me why I'm seeing those two figures and how do we reconcile with that and which is the actual? Because in the paper is obviously reported that the city has a 6.5 and the school department has a 3.9. And for the sake of accuracy, help me out.
Sure. So there's three different levels of accounting that are in your financial statements. You got a government-wide, which is full accrual. Then the city deal and the school deal with the fund level financial statement, which is unmodified accrual. And then there's a third level of accounting, which is budgetary accounting. Okay. Probably most of the numbers that are reported to you are on that budgetary accounting. So the difference between both budget to GAAP, we have a reconciliation that's in the financial statements. And essentially, the majority of your difference is related to GASB 54. So there's other funds that the city does not budget for that are included into your general fund as side funds. And though bringing that activity onto that general fund skews that number relative to what you see in the budget to actual reports.
So the last phrase I heard was that number is skewed. So the more accurate figure, am I right to, if I'm not putting words in your mouth, because you're the financial man, not myself, is our deficit a $4.9 million deficit? Would that be the more accurate report of what it is?
Correct. So that's what is reported on your RSI 1, which is the city's budget to actual, is the 4.9.
Okay, and thank you for clearing that part up. The other stuff I had heard, and if we go to, I believe, page 52, where it says the excessive expenditures, and this is something that I highlighted when I initially went. If you guys all want to go to 52. I got the right page. So if I look at that and I marked it and I had marked it on my online version as well, if we look at those areas and they're bulleted there, basically, and as I know, Mr. DeMeo has told me many times that budgets are based on assumptions, right? So is basically those expenditures where you can see, is that basically we made an assumption it did not materialize? And that's where the deficit is. Would that be an accurate depiction of what's included there?
So these are excess expenditures over budget. So obviously every year you have to look at historic trends, right, and knowing what also is that things that you do know, like for example, your union contracts. If you have a union contract that you're in year 1, you got a 3-year contract, you know what your budgeted increases are going to be on that union contract. But also, look what happened last Monday with the snowstorm. Obviously, you're going to have a big hit to your public works probably for fiscal year 2026, because who would have known such a big snowstorm was going to come by, right?
Right.
So you kind of have to assume some stuff with the budget.
I see. All right. I think you covered. I'm going to open the floor just so I don't take all. And what I'm going to do, because in my head, I always have to make a circle all the way around. So if you get ready, I'm going to make a circle counterclockwise all around to the council members. I'm going to give you guys one chance to ask you questions, then I'm going to go around a second time. All right. And I'm going to start with Councilman Andujar because he's the first one in front of me.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for coming out tonight. I see that the rescue fund line was overspent by 441,000. Now, we get Medicaid that, we bill out and then we get that back. Did we receive the money already from Medicaid and we still went over, or that wasn't counted for?
Through the chair to the counselor, this is on the expense side. So what you're speaking to is on the revenue side. On that, it was predominantly it's really the big, what we record is what I'll refer to as the city write-offs for the balances, and then the billing expense were the two components that go into the deficit that you see there.
Thank you.
As I keep turning, Councilman Trafficani, would you have something at this time? Yep.
Can you hear me okay? I noticed in your summary, you encourage the city and the school officials to consider implementing budgetary constraints and controls for the current fiscal year. You know if they've done that at the present time?
So just to be clear, I'm not the Auditor General. That was David Bergentino's letter. So I am the external auditor.
May I ask the administration that question?
Yes.
Absolutely. Director, are you going to speak for the administration this evening, or is Director Zadelis? And then you'll determine who would answer it best. Excellent. Councilman Trafficani.
I'll read it, Anthony. It says, in order to encourage city and school officials to consider implementing budgetary and spending controls for the remainder of fiscal year 2026 to minimize any potential operating deficits for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026.
Yeah. We're in the process of developing very finite, definitive, identified controls and measures to mitigate the trend. We have instituted some elements, like, for instance, essentially basically hiring freeze unless absolutely necessary. So that's one example. But the department heads are being scrutinized for spending at this point. So it's both, we've begun to do that, but I think there's going to be more savings as we look forward once those programs or initiatives are implemented over the coming months. But so so things have been formulated and they're in the process of taking effect. And within the next 3 weeks or so, 3 to 4 weeks, you will be seeing or hearing of those changes that will be coming about, the initiatives coming, at least from the administration. From the school's end, we have not spoken with them as to what they have, what they're coming up with, so I can't speak on their behalf at this point, Mayor. And that lends to part of the discussion with the Auditor General. They kind of had a similar comment about initiating savings opportunities and programs to trend differently. So a bit has been done, but more substantially, what will be coming soon will be more meat and potatoes.
Councilman, be all right if I, just to make sure before you step down, Director. So you already have implemented a hiring freeze on, if I'm paraphrasing, would it be non-essential personnel?
It would, non-required or.
Non-required?
Correct.
All
Yeah,
right.
it would, it's being scrutinized. Anything coming up is scrutinized. And
Hmm.
so far, we've not hired. There's been one position in inspections, actually, that someone has been promoted from a lower level to a higher level.
Yeah. And certainly the council understands if it's a required or an essential personnel person, it's in the title that is be necessary, but something is not essential and not required. You've already begun that. Because I know as we spoke last week regarding the audit letter, you said that you were working very hard on it, and the council is it still you're still consistent with the idea that the council will probably hear most of your plans when the actual budget comes out for the next year? Is that still
For sure.
the direction you're going in?
For sure.
But probably not before that.
See, the revolving decisions are being made as we speak, actually this week, and then speaking with department heads, communicating to others or stakeholders beyond that. So it is rolling out behind the scenes. But there is also something called executive session that.
And certainly we've spoken that would definitely be willing to use that executive session. Thank you.
Yeah, could probably be at more liberty to talk in that respect.
Yep. Councilman, the floor is still yours. Unless you have another question, I'm going to go right around.
Anthony, has that been communicated to the school department as well as part of putting restraints on the current fiscal year?
Yeah, they've gotten the message. We had a meeting with the Auditor General, as you may be aware. And there's another one set up for next week. It's kind of a joint meeting with the state, the State Auditor General's office, the Division of the Department of Administration of Revenue, the schools, and the city finance and executives. So they brought up the messages clear. And so have we gone over anything specific? Frankly, we've been kind of tied up on our side. So we haven't sat down with them to see what they're coming up with at this point, but the message is there.
No, sir. I'm going right around. Councilman Bonanno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have basically two questions, and I don't know who's best to answer them, so I wouldn't go too far. Direct them already. The first one, I guess, when it comes to this stuff, I'm sort of a big picture guy. This is details, obviously, but I'm more of a big picture, and I understand the big picture, which is why I am not an accountant or an accounting professional. Basically, my question is, in this fiscal year that is being reported on tonight, where were we most egregiously off in our projections, and where do we suffer the most damage that added up to that figure of $4.9 million?
Yeah, so if you look at that, either page 52, which shows all those excessive expenditures, or you can go to the RSI one, it kind of gives you that budget to actual presentation that you're looking for, where you can kind of go through the revenues and the expenditures to see, all right, what were we over, what were we under on?
Okay, what was this at page 52?
So page 52 has the excess expenditures over budget.
Okay.
And then page 124 is the budget to actual for the city general fund.
Okay.
And then the page after that is the school unrestricted fund.
All right. Okay, thank you. My second question, I don't know if this is best answered by the auditor or not, but when there are, I'm trying to use the right word, but when there are deficits reported, can affect the city or town's bond rating. And I just want to know if our bond rating has been affected or if it has changed. A, since this news has come out, or B, since this council was seated, which is a year and a half ago.
So that's more of a question for your financial advisor. All I do is report on the numbers to say that you can use this financial report. The numbers are not materially misstated, and you can rely on the information within it. I can say through the subsequent event date that there was no material items that needed to be disclosed between 6/30/2025 and our report date.
Okay. Is perhaps the finance director still here? Is he sitting behind you? Can't see him.
Yes.
Mr. President, may I ask the finance director about the bond
I'm
rating?
sorry,
Can I ask the finance director about the bond rating?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Through the chair to the counselor, The bond rating was made, okay, since this report, nothing has changed. I approximately August, when we issued the $50 million bond, which Mr. Gross spoke to, Standard and Poor's took us down one slight notch. We're still in a plus rated community, and Fitch maintained our bond rating.
All right. The reason I ask is because, out in the public, the level of concern is that of 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, our bond ratings fell significantly. So I want to sort of reassure everyone that, that's not the case.
Yeah.
This is not Armageddon here.
No, and it by no means is it Armageddon, but we are laser focused on multiple issues. And if I can just editorialize on what Mr. Gross was speaking to, one thing, the ordinance relative to our reserve level is 5%. Is as recently as the last audit report, to be at our bond rating, we should be at a minimum a 10% reserve level fund balance. So simultaneously, while we're operating the city, we need to, continually build up the reserve. The second thing that's a drag on our bond rating, which is, liabilities, whether it be the pension fund or our OPEB fund. So again, a focused, forward funding of that is just as important, if not more important, than a 1 year draw on fund balance. So it's multi dimensional finance. But yeah, we're focused on all of those aspects.
Thank you. That exhausts my question, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving right along, Councilwoman Baziri.
Yeah, do I have permission to ask the admin a question?
Director Moretti or the finance director?
I think Director Moretti. So looking at page 10, why are we collecting less property tax when the taxes went up?
Would you mind if I pass that one on to,
Yeah,
to the
sorry.
finance director? I'm not.
Lateral.
Through the chairman to the council president to the councilor. The FY, I don't know if you recall the the personal property phase out. When the budget was presented to the council, the personal property exemption calculation had not been finalized. And as of June 30th, of last year, when the budget, the budget was presented, we kept that up in the tax. If you go back to the report that the council president made reference to, that $1.7 million, which was the personal property tangible reimbursement from the state, was reduced from our tax bill, but we picked it up on state aid. So that's the difference between, what you see being collected in the tax portion, but you see a corresponding increase in the intergovernmental line item. So it's an offset.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Moving right along to Councilman Ritz.
Just had a couple questions for the auditor. So in my private life, I worked on budgets for 20 plus years. So I know the ebbs and flows of them and the environmental impacts that you said, storms and other things too. But kind of in simple terms, how would you say the city's financial health is overall?
So again, I'm your external auditor. Like I don't interpret your data. Essentially, I'm hired to give an opinion on the financial statements as a whole, whether you can use it and rely on that information to make your own judgments.
Okay.
Again, I would recommend consulting your financial advisor or the department, the administration.
All right. My other question was, going through this audit and everything, if there's one area you think we should focus on, keeping an eye on, is there one area you would recommend that we watch?
It's always, I would go with IT security just because we're in an evolving world with the emergence of AI and, other third-party actors that are always looking to grab onto your data through either ransomware attacks or anything else. Always making sure you have a robust IT security system and that it's being properly funded and data penetration and other penetration tests are being performed.
Sorry, I was thinking more like one of the categories in here that you think we should be watching more than the others.
Category by what? Like on your financial statement or anything?
Yeah.
Always look at fund balance. That's always an important thing. As Director Zadelis mentioned, that's kind of an item that, bond rating agencies look at, as well as any investor who would look to invest in bonds with the city.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman. I'm going all the way around, and I'm sorry, I see you way down there, Councilman Campiano.
Thank you, Council President. I don't know if this is along the lines of what Councilman Rich just says. How many other cities and towns do you audit?
So we audit a good number of towns and cities in Rhode Island and New England.
Are other cities and towns struggling the way Cranston is?
Each town and city has their own troubles that they face on a daily basis. I know a lot of cities have been having issues coming off some of the ARPA and the ESSER fund monies from COVID. That's always presents a challenge, but other than that, all cities and towns face similar issues.
I guess that's kind of what we're coming off the COVID money, and now we don't have that anymore. So I'm thinking that some other cities and towns are struggling in the same way.
Exactly.
We now don't have that money to draw from. I don't know who can answer this question, but on page 52 again, we'll go back to that. I can kind of figure out most of these line items that are overspent, but the one that I'm curious about is economic development by $400,000. Oh, where is it?
200,000.
Yeah, there it is. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Councilman, which one was that, so I can follow?
It's the economic development line, overspent by 200,477. Is that in loans that we give out, or what?
Through the council president to the councilor, and I'm just gonna focus on the 200,000. As you may recall, in the formulation of the FY25 budget, 200,000 was appropriated for loans. So what happened was, as Mr. Gross was speaking to, that was one of those side funds, where the money, that was ARPA money that was programmed into the budget to be spent. So somewhat the accounting of it inflates the over expenditure because we had to recognize the transfer of the ARPA money from the ARPA fund to the general fund as an expense. That kind of accounting also occurred in our IT department. And I think it was in DPW with tree cutting. So it's an accounting reconciliation, but the 200,000 was the appropriation of ARPA money to be spent in loans. I hope I answered you.
Thank you very much for the explanation. It goes back to the ARPA money that we had. So I appreciate your answer. Thank you. That's all I got, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. I'm going to just very quickly go to Auditor DeMayo. Very quickly, because he had
Just maybe a
something.
clarification. I thought the $200,000 in funds was for $201,000 grants. I didn't think it was for lending. Is that correct, or am I mistaken?
Through the chair to the council, if I said loans, I was mistaken. It was the grants.
And to clarify one more, Councilwoman Bezeri, were you looking at the total revenue? This, just so everybody's aware, in the current budget we're in, there was not a tax increase. It was a levelly funded budget. The last tax increase was for fiscal June 30th of 2024. And that was the last budget where we had opera funds. We had $4.9 million in opera funds in fiscal year June 30th, 2024. And in this budget, we did not have those funds roll over, and it was it was not a tax increase for such 3025. It was a level funded budget.
Mr. Mayo, and what I was saying is, if you go back and look at the detail behind the financials, in the top portion on the budget estimate in the collections for tax revenues, the budget contained $1,000,007, which we knew was going to end up in the form of state reimbursement, in the form of reimbursement. So the actual estimated revenue up top is in the taxes. Down in the bottom, when the revenue was recognized, it came in the form of intergovernmental revenue.
Correct. I agree. I just wanted to clarify the fact that I don't want anybody to have the impression that there was a tax increase in that period. There was not.
In and of it, through the chair,
Correct.
I'm sorry, in and of itself, year over year, there was no tax increase built into the
Yes.
FY 25.
Again, for the council,
Yep.
because the council members who haven't been here long enough, the last tax increase was fiscal June 30th of 2024. And if I'm correct, it was 2.97% is what the increase was. So. So like I said, the current budget we're in, there was no tax increase, and there was a loss of technically 4.9 million of opera funds that was in the previous period.
Thank you, Auditor DeMayo. Moving right along, Councilwoman Graziano.
Thank you, President Wall. This is for the administration. If either Director Moretti or Finance Director, you'd like to answer this, whichever one. So Councilman Capapiano brought up, the $200,000, and that was explained. But I think my question is for some of the line items, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like, obviously, like, things happen. We are all saying it, like Public Works, there's snow, police and fire, there's emergencies. So those lines are gonna always vary. But I guess my question lies with some of these other line items why weren't they flagged as they start to go over, and you're seeing a differential at certain point, like at your quarter points in the year? Why are we not saying like, okay, so I mean, to me, personnel line, that seems like a lot to overspend, but maybe I'm incorrect, like 26,000. So like you first overspend by 5,000. Okay, maybe there's a flag, then you keep overspending. I know you think it's based on revenue and spending, but like at some point when you see a differential, don't you start to get concerned? Especially like finance line, 500,000, I mean, those are the ones that are hitting me, are like the ones that are not emergency services.
Through the council president to the counselor, and I'll just speak to one specific one. The biggest driver on the finance line was severance pay. Someone retired. So if you go and crosswalk that to the report that the council president spoke to, and I'm doing this from memory, I think that over the amount that we were over budget for the severance, and in terms of that severance line in finance, we pay the severance amount for all departments with the exception of police and fire. So any retiree that retired, whether it be from, City Hall or DPW, their accrued severance, we cannot not pay that upon their retirement. So there's a lot of detail behind every line. And if you like, I can, get you a summary out and then, an explanation of why certain things, were in the red. There was back to the council president, unfortunately, overtime. If there's a need for overtime, whether it be, police or fire investigations, unfortunately, we can't stop overtime.
Yeah, so what?
I'm sorry.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Okay,
Part do you want
The
repeated?
last part.
The last part about overtime.
Overtime, yeah, it's public safety overtime, they're out doing an investigation. as an example, just using that as an example. We're gonna have to pay their overtime and we'd have most likely a legal challenge.
Okay, so I kind of like mentioned some of the other line items where you're spending 25,000, like where's the trigger where you stop spending the 25,000 on personnel line? Like
Through the
what-
council president to the counselor, let me get you a listing of what went
Okay.
into those lines if I could.
Okay. All right, sorry, that was not also just for the council members. That was page 52. I think we all know that. And then my next question is, on page 124, general property taxes, there's a differential of $309,000. Is that unpaid taxes? What's the issue with the property taxes there?
In through the council president.
124?
124?
124, that's the budget to actual.
Mhm.
As I stated, the final budget amount, which did not include a tax increase, included an estimate of $1.7 million worth of personal property taxes that are budgeted up on that line item. But if you go down to the next line item before, you'll see an increase of 9 million over, 9.9 million in the intergovernmental fund.
Mhm.
$1.7 million that is budgeted as a revenue up in general property taxes actually came in the form of intergovernmental receipts from the state. And Mr. DeMayo, I can, if you go back and look at the June report, you'll see the budget for personal property reimbursement phase out coming in at $1.6 million or $1.7 million with no budget corresponding budget line. So that's through the council president to the councilor, that's the explanation.
Is that right?
Are you all set, Councilwoman? Or are you conferring with the auditor?
I was.
That's
briefly.
quite all right. I just want to make sure I don't move on.
What?
Go right ahead. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe perhaps while I could kind of sidle on because the councilwoman's question and the discussion regarding overtime, it made me consider something. And it probably would be for the financial director. If we're seeing, and you rightfully mentioned, our first responders, sometimes these are essential people that we need to have they have to have overtime. They're public safety officers or public safety in the police and fire. And I think perhaps, and this is maybe a commentary, and it's not like a great epiphany, we're just not making the right assumption in our budget that line should be increased because consistently, if we look at the historical averages, those numbers should be higher. So when I go back to 52 and I see some of those issues, we under budgeted those issues because if we look at the 5-year average, we were never going to come under budget on this. So, I mean, and I'm not an auditor, but I'm just using a little Andy Griffin logic here, that's where I see it. Because we're the second largest city in the state of Rhode Island. We are definitely going to have overtime in those lines. And that overtime is absolutely going to be necessary. It's how we budget it. I think it's important.
And Council President, I agree with you 100%. You will always have overtime because of circumstances beyond our control. It's a matter of managing overtime. So that's a whole nother conversation. But yes, you'll always have overtime.
And thank you. I believe Councilwoman Graziano did you have another question?
I'm gonna pass it to to Mr. DeMayo.
Okay,
Director,
Auditor
just-
DeMayo.
Just for a little bit of clarification for the councilwoman, in that 306,000, there would be a consideration for some portion of taxes not paid, for some liens that have taken place or some tax revenue that actually the
Not-
city has not done. I get the fact that the state is doing the phase out for the property taxes on the car, but just for her edification, some of that money is uncollected property taxes, which could be on real estate or could be on another item. It's not just a regular
No, but
derivative of money that's just from one line to another.
Through the chair, if on a budgetary basis, if it was a perfect world, by some chance, do you have the personal property number in front of you that came in?
The line item that was in for the phase out was 23 million. And the excise.
No, the personal property, Mr. Mayo, I think you just spoke to the motor vehicle.
Yeah, that's the one. Hold on. It's not, the revenue number's not
So
categorized as
if
personal
I just,
property.
if I just may editorialize for a minute, and I keep using the number that is resonating as 1,000,007. On a budgetary basis, 1,000,007 is a component of the 186 million. So that estimate is overstated because we knew, although we didn't know what the final amount was with the state, we knew that money was going to be recognized in the intergovernmental line.
Yeah,
So-
it's
so
1,000,007, 38,000.
with no budgetary, if you look to the far left, Mr. DeMayo, I
Correct.
think.
There is
okay?
not, they're absolutely
So-
correct. There is nothing in the budget.
If the budget, if it was a perfect world, that 1,000,007 would have been depicted in the intergovernmental line
Correct.
of, so thus the collections compared to the final budget, which is reduced by 1,000,007,
Mhm.
taxes would have been above budget. And yes, to the chair, yes, there are outstanding tax receivables that are to be collected, but that would further increase revenue. So
And just as far as the question on the overtime, I would assume in various departments that are here, you look at history for the
and we look
overtime
at
and carry
current,
the history
yes,
forward
yes, and we look at current activity. Yes, sir.
and of obviously previous years.
Yes,
For
sir.
consistency.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Auditor. Do you
I
have
have
another, you can
one-
have as many, we're gonna stay here all night. You don't
We're
worry
all,
about
we're
it.
here all night. Okay.
You're, as long as you need to.
Well, so to what Mr. DeMayo was saying, that's sort of my next question, like, we have these like estimates, but where we're off, I'm still on 124, by the way.
Yep.
Why are we so far off in our estimates if we're looking back at previous years? I mean, license and permits is like $1 million. So like, I guess what happened there? Like, why are we so far off?
Through the council, I can go through line by line and get you bullet.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna yield.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I'm gonna move on to Council Vice President Haroyan. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I'd just like to start saying, I think we were at a meeting 2 weeks ago and Council President asked for us to all get this printed out. It would have been really nice to have it before our meeting tonight on a table behind us. Some of us took, went and got it printed and studied it, but having it online was not sufficient. We should be given the tools we asked for to do our jobs.
Through the council president to the council vice president, we just had this conversation with the council president. The actual CLA sent the box with the binders. We received them. I don't remember what day it was. They were signed. No excuses. They never made it up to finance. So for the night of, and I don't remember, once we had the the actual audit report, they were immediately furnished, with the intention of getting to you. So, yeah, they were delivered. They just happened to be just on the first floor of City Hall until someone followed up with Mr. Gross, who said they were signed for, I don't remember what day it was. But yes, should they have been out to you prior to that? Absolutely. And once we found out where the actual audit was, they got delivered to the clerk's office.
Okay, I'm gonna start by page 8, my first question. It's the very first thing, current and other assets. 2024 was 127.9, 2025 is 88.8. How did that go down? Did we sell off our assets?
You-
Chrissy, I'm sorry, where are you?
Page 8.
Thank you.
Very first line.
It's MD&A. I don't know if that's.
I'm looking at page 8. Yeah. So who would answer that question? I don't believe the auditor would have that, if, would he? You would answer that, Director Zadalis? By all means, please. Yeah.
All right,
That's in the MD&A, and I do not have that answer for you right now because it's got to be crosswalked to the balance sheet. So this was not prepared by me, but again, we'll get you an answer.
thank you. Okay. Sorry, I have lots of tabs in my book. We had a blizzard. I had lots of time to do this. Right, thank you to Councilwoman Fazzari. That one's been answered. All right, back to the famous page of 52.
52.
Okay. I'm confused with the law. Line was overspent by 212,210 because Solicitor Malay always tells us that the law department comes in under budget and he's under budget every year.
Finance, is that one you can answer?
Yep, the legal expenses were the outside legal counsel, third-party lawyers representing us were the largest portion of that.
Was outside legal consult,
Yes, sir.
even
Yes,
though we
sir.
have a staff of solicitors.
Through-
Okay. All right, my next one is, you said the fire line, and I know this was overspent. I'm okay with that. I have a question. Well, this is probably for the personnel director who's not here, maybe Director Moretti, I don't know, through the chair. Do we know how many personnel we have out on injury waiting for the state to put them on disability, that we're paying them through the workman's comp self-employed, but then we're paying someone to fill their spot as overtime?
Director Moretti, is that one you'd be able to answer?
Yeah, I don't recall the exact number. I could give you ballpark.
Approximation?
You're talking police and fire? Police, I believe, might have one or two max, or 0, 1 or 2. Fire, probably in the vicinity of 5 plus or minus 1. I have to say, from a couple of years, probably since we first came in about 4 years ago, the number I think was in the low 20s.
Okay.
That gives you an idea.
All right, thank you. Okay, on page 184, through the chair to maybe the finance director.
184.
184. All right, the COVID ARPA money is 7347678. This deficit takes into account that we use that money. Other time, how far off are we in this year with that? Is that an appropriate question?
Through the council president, council vice president, could you specifically ask or point me where you were?
Yep, I'm on page 184.
Yep.
And the COVID ARPA money, 7347678. Okay, I'm asking how far off we are this year, because this budget takes into account we use that money.
Okay, if I may, Council President, that wipes out, we have appropriated the entire ARPA money. The amount that you just cited was the corpus, the principal of ARPA plus the accrued interest in that 7 million. So in terms of utilizing ARPA, it's now a matter of just spending the ARPA funds for what the purposes they were appropriated for. So you won't have an adjustment, and conversely, if you go back to whatever page was the budget to actual, the transfer out, 6.2 is the actions from the settlement agreement between the council and the mayor. So all the ARPA money has now been appropriated and accounted for. Now it's a matter of just spending it before December 31st of this fiscal year.
Okay.
So just, if you don't mind, just so I'm clear before you go away. So the only time I'm going to see it going forward in a budget or a statement is going to be funds that have been previously appropriated, if I'm hearing you correctly.
If yes, there will be, as an example, if I just may, you appropriated money for a bucket truck for the fire department. I believe it was 240. We spent 220. We will be coming back to this council, whether it be in what Mr. Moretti was describing earlier, to say, okay, in lieu of, we have this residual appropriation, we need to repurpose 20 grand and we're going to keep it in the fire department.
Okay. Hold on one second. We'll go back to the audit of the mail.
Just to help clarify for the councilwoman, again, 6/30 of 2024 was the last time opera funds were used to fund the budget. In the audit period we're now, 6/30/2025, there were no opera funds used, I believe, is lost revenue. The opera funds that were appropriated was a portion of it through a settlement, as he had said, with the mayor and the council, and the remaining funds were used. They were all used for capital assets. There's a list that's there, but I just, to clarify, moving forward, the fiscal year 6/30/2024, again, it was roughly 4.9 million that was used as a revenue line. And in the budget we're in now, we had no opera funds in the revenue line at all.
If I just may, and we just, the actual appropriation of the ARPA funds, the settlement, actually was consummated December of 24. That's when we appropriated the ARPA funds. That is the fiscal year in question of this audit. So if I just may, the 7.2 was the, for no better term, appropriation of the entire amount of that settlement agreement, and it was accounted for coming into the general fund as a revenue, being transferred out to the appropriate, correct, 6.2. So that's the accounting that occurred in FY25.
The ARPA regulations, just so everybody's aware, is that the funds had to be appropriated by December 31st, 2024, and have to be expended by December 31st, 2026.
Through the council president to the auditor, that is correct.
Well, obligated or assessed.
That's what
Right,
it answered.
All right, Councilwoman, the floor is still yours.
Okay, I don't know who this would go to, maybe administration through the chair.
What pages?
Page 208.
208, my friends.
And this might have been something Councilwoman Graziano was asking, but it's hard to hear with that fan and one back here. City clerk, number of documents recorded, 2024 was 11,527, but then 2025, it dropped to 6,147. Finance?
May I interject? Through the chair, that might have something to do with the Real ID Act.
What do you
Okay.
think it has? I'm sorry.
Real ID.
Okay, could be real ID. Do you want to answer that?
No, we'll get back to you with
The
that
clerk,
one
okay,
because
so that
goes-
would be.
Yep.
So that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Council, Vice President. Once, I'm gonna make one more circle just in case, and I see I'm gonna circle right around, my friends. I see Councilman Andujar. Councilman
Thank you.
Andujar?
I just want to remind my fellow council people that there will be budget meetings and we will have each department there where we can go line by line and ask them questions. But for our auditor that's here, I'm looking at slide 14, the general fund.
Mhm.
So my question is, we go from 2022, we're at 14, we jump up to 19 million, that's 5. So that's good, right? That's great. Then we go up, another 2 point something thousand for 24, but then we drop down to 14. So my question is, I think the standards is we have to have 17% in our rainy day fund. So they say.
So GFOA says that you should have about 2 to 3 months of expenditures in your fund balance.
All right, so let's just hypothetically say we give a bailout and we bail out our 4.9 and we bail out the schools at their $5 million and we drop it down to 5. How bad will our bond rating be if we give this bailout?
Again, that's a financial advisor question. I would recommend.
Well, I mean, you said you have, about bond ratings and stuff like that. So I'm just asking your opinion if we.
But Director Zadelis maybe will answer
Okay.
that.
Through the council president to the finance chair. First thing is the 4.9, the 14 million is already net of the draw of 4.9 on a budgetary basis.
Mhm.
So getting it back down to that 5.81% or whatever it is, the number in Mr. Gross's slide already represents that.
Mhm.
Going down another draw would be bad, would be very bad because, we've maintained for a lot of reasons, the city's bond rating with the infamous 5% level. Again, this is at least my third time saying that should be at minimum 10%. So, I wouldn't even venture to guess, another draw, a substantial draw would be extremely bad for our bond rating in light of the other, aspects such as our pension funding and our OPEB funding.
So you don't believe in a bailout? Okay, thanks. Other places do it, especially Washington. But I just want to, Mr. President, give a comment to the administration as we're facing these budgetary deficits. I really hope that if layoffs were to occur, they do not occur without blue collar workers. Our DPW workers are bottom of the totem pole, parks and rec people, they're the backbone of the city. And especially on the school side, our teachers' aides, they're the front line. So I just want to make that comment that I hope that if layoffs were to be discussed, they leave the blue collar workers alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Trafficani.
I want to follow up on Councilman Andy Howe's question. But by taking the $6.5 million reserves, you decreased our city reserves from 8.17% down to 5.3%. I can ask this to the finance director. And of course, the GFOA is always looking for a 17% situation. Were you not concerned by dropping down to 5.3%? Would it impact our bond rating? And if you were concerned, why do we do it?
Okay, and again, answering the direct question, there were certain things we could not have stopped. So again, in here, I am the first person to say, and as I have, Mr. Gross spoke to the GFOA. I focus right in on the S&P criteria for rating, which the lowest reserve balance level for our rating category is 10. So before getting to 17%, my goal is to get, from our existing 5% threshold to a 10% threshold. And that will take multiple years.
So you're telling me that you are confident at this point in time that our bond rating will not be impacted?
I didn't say that. I said our 5%,
So-
put it this way.
So there is a possibility.
Standard & Poor's was made aware that we were going to have a draw. And I think the prediction was, and I'm doing this because this occurred last August. At that point in time, I believe I was projecting roughly a $3 million fund balance draw. And I believe I was predicting a $2 million fund balance draw on the school side. And we're still in the range of our, bond level, but it's not one, so through the council president to the counselor, there is no one silver bullet. Like if we suddenly increased our fund balance to 10, but our liabilities, that being pension and OPEB, continued to erode, that would be a cause for a bond rating decrease. So it's not one silver bullet. We have to do a financial plan that addresses all of our liabilities and our assets.
It is a dangerous situation.
Sorry.
But by reducing the reserves down to 5.3%, that's a very dangerous situation. And it will impact, I think it will impact our bond rating. And it will cost the city more money.
Okay. And yep. And you've always had a 5%. I've been trying to, get it to 10, but Council President, yeah.
You're set, Councilman. Councilman Banano, I'm just going right around.
Well, I have a small statement and then one more question. If there was going to be a draw back in August from the rainy day fund, the council probably should have known about it back in August. Just going to leave that out there. What's our tax collection rate?
Through the council president, it's above 98.5. I can get the calculation from this.
What's the industry standard? Is that what the industry standard is?
Put this way, there's no industry standard, but this is a product of us doing tax sales.
Okay. I remember, I was very young, but I do remember back when Cranston had a huge problem. They were using it was a 99% tax collection rate. And that caused problems as well, because they didn't obviously collect that rate of taxes. So just food for thought,
If I just may, that was the exchange that I had with the good councilor Graziano. I mean, the difference of 300,000 if you.
Yep.
So we're in a healthy position in terms of our collection rate.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Going right around. I'm looking to the point. I see Councilman Campiano. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. I'm back on page 52 again, the famous page. And I can understand the overspend in the fire and rescue. There's overtime, there's tragedies, there's all kinds of stuff, but the salary line overspend on the schools on salaries is 1.2 million. I don't know who can answer that, but I would assume that we know upfront the salaries and the teachers that we have. That's a big number, 1.2 million.
Joseph Balducci, Chief Financial Officer, Cranston Public Schools. We agree with you. That is a significant overspend in that line item. One of the areas that always cause us grief is teacher substitutes. While we try to budget what we believe is an appropriate level for one reason or another, that area is always overspent. So that was one of the reasons why. One of the other areas we looked at our bus drivers in particular. They don't have a set salary, I'll say, per se. It's basically on the length of their run. So again, while we try to guesstimate our best to what we believe that spend's going to be at the end of the year, that was one of the other areas that came in over budget. So those are just two areas that I can think of off the top of my head, but I can provide you with a more detailed explanation of that. But those are the two areas that just come to light right now.
You still have the floor, Council.
Excuse me 1 minute.
You had to turn it back on.
Councilman Graziano just pointed out to me, if you go all the way down where it says other line was overspent by 845, what's other line?
Sure. So when we develop our budget year over year, we make some assumptions, savings from teacher retirements, staff reductions, and so forth. So when we originally developed the 24-25 budget, that line item, as we define it, budget savings to be determined, stood at around $3 million. So that was our goal, to try to achieve budget savings. With some additional state aid that came to the district and also some savings from retirements, we were able to get that delta, as I refer to it, down to $800,000. The unfortunate thing is throughout the rest of the year, we were not able to achieve internal savings to make up that $800,000. So that was a budget deficit that stayed with us the entire year. So that's the reason why that line item shows a budget deficit of approximately $840,000. But you need to understand one thing. It's an important statement. Our budget year over year, when we prepare our budget, we make some assumptions, but it is razor thin from an expenditure standpoint. So any little hiccup, whether it be from staffing, we guesstimate a certain amount of savings from retirements that are not achieved. But actually, at the most recent school committee meeting that we just had, I identified several areas that caused almost 80 to 85% of the $2.9 million deficit that was beyond our control. So they were outside tuition, whether we send our kids to charter schools, which caused us grief from a budgetary standpoint. I identified the pension. I believe Director Zadelis had the same problem that the school department had. We developed our budget on June 28th. On the next day, I received a new bill from the state retirement system. Because if you remember, the General Assembly gave back some of the Raimondo takeaways back to the retirees. So that area of my budget, overnight, I was $1.2 million in the hole. When your budget's razor thin, the way the school department's budget is, you never recover from those type of last minute changes. So again, pathway programs. Governor Raimondo opened up the whole state of Rhode Island. So any student can go any other district in the state of Rhode Island. Who pays the bill? We do. So again, you try to guesstimate as best you can those students that are going to go to the North Kingstons of the world, the Exeter West Greenwich of the world, because they have pathway programs. But again, you make the assumption that 5 students are going to go out of district because that's what's currently going out of district. But when you get the bill next year, for next school year, 10 students go out of district. You have no say in the matter, you just have to pay the bill. So again, I repeat myself, when the budget is razor thin, the way it is year over year, any minor change like that causes us grief. And sometimes it's tough to recover from.
Thank you, Director.
You're welcome.
Joe, let me keep you, Balducci, pardon me for the familiarity.
No worries.
Joe, how many, I'm Mr. Balducci, how many employees, and I'm not looking for the accurate, exact number. How many employees does the school department employ?
Approximately 1,500. If you count day-to-day substitutes, we're well over 2,000 that we pay every couple of weeks. But I'll say full-time equivalents, we're around 1,500 employees.
By far the largest workforce in the city.
Yes, correct.
And when you talk about many of them are my colleagues are teachers, and our workforce is getting much older. And I can see that in my own, department, because some of the retirement issues that the teachers teach much longer and they're more susceptible to illness. So a few illnesses, or a few long-term illnesses combined with the long-term issues could be a pretty significant, cause a pretty significant deficit. And I know the people who sat on the school committee with you, while we were members of the school committee, know the work that you do and know the work that the school department does. And we also know, all of us know, that your budget is thin and you don't have a lot of margin for error. And I'm sure that's, I just want that noted. Joe, I have the other question I do have is, it has been reported that you have a $3.9 million deficit. Is it a 3.9? But we had gone into the city, the general fund, and we saw that perhaps that wasn't the most accurate depiction. As we talked in this room before you got here, that we have more of a $4.9 million deficit. What is the figure that you're reporting now?
So like Director Zadelis, we live in the budgetary world. So we develop a budget and then we are tasked to maintain that budget. So from a budgetary standpoint, we did run a $2.9 million deficit. The reason why, again, as stated in the Auditor General's letter that everyone received, it stands at 3.9. The school department maintains a capital reserve fund. So that particular year, we we had the need to draw from that fund about $1 million, just under $1.1 million worth of expenses. We do get reimbursed. It's called housing aid reimbursement. So if we undertake a capital project that meets the definition of RIDE for reimbursement purposes, that housing aid revenue goes back into that fund as well. But at the end of the year, that fund ran $1 million deficit. From an accounting standpoint, Mr. Gross and his company cannot show that fund as a standalone capital reserve fund. So the results of that fund get commingled and are communicated as part of the school's general fund. So therefore, again, from a budgetary standpoint, 2.9. From a GAAP standpoint, it was 3.9. So there's the difference.
So from there, just to repeat, the capital reserve shows about $1 million and a 2.9 that you reported earlier. So a similar situation that we were talking about before we talked about the general fund. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go right around. I believe my last two council members. Yes, no, I see. Yes, Councilwoman Graziano. You good? You sure? All right, Councilwoman Heroin. You're okay.
Mr. Chairman, I asked Mr. Balducci a question.
Absolutely.
Joe, you were not here earlier, so I asked a question of our finance director. I'll ask you the same question. The school department in your unrestricted fund reported a deficit of $3.9 million for the fiscal year ending 2/25. Is that correct?
Again, from a budgetary standpoint, 2.9. Yes.
The question I asked was that, have you presently implementing any budgetary and spending controls, basically try to avoid a deficit in the current fiscal year?
Always. So again, the good news is the General Assembly did not surprise the district when they were analyzing the requirement for funding this year's pension obligation. So what they told us the rates were going to be is in fact the rates. And that's one of the areas I monitor every 2 weeks after a particular pay period hits the books. So I can tell you both the certified pension and the non-certified pension areas are running right now about 100,000 in the hole. But that changes, that fluctuates every pay period, every 2 weeks. So I'm not running a $1.2 million deficit in that area. Unfortunately, again, I'm going to repeat myself, because our budget is razor thin, and I'm just going to use a number off the top of my head. Let's just say the teacher substitutes was over budget by $300,000. Year over year, I can't automatically go to increasing that line item by $300,000. So I have to gradually put more dollars in that area to hopefully at some point get into the black, to go from, a deficit of 300 and you try to fully fund it the following year. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that. But I will tell you again, as the administration stood before the school committee, one of the things we adopted was a zero-based budgeting approach as we created our 26-27 budget. So in so doing, again, I said, okay, if we're running 300 in the hole in substitutes, I increased that line item by $300,000 over time. Just as an example, if I'm running into a problem, I fully funded that area to the level it deserves on a go-forward basis. So in 25-26, I was not able to do so. But the goal in 26-27 is to present a budget of what it costs Cranston Public Schools to run its system. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but.
Yeah, I understand, Joe. I do. But one more question, Mr. Chairman.
Go right ahead.
Joe, in your internal service fund,
Mhm.
you're experiencing a $9.7 million problem.
We are.
How do you plan on addressing that?
So that's a significant deficit that we have to achieve. We've been trying to do it with incremental increases in our budget, the amount of money we set aside for our contributions into that fund. For 2 years in a row, we budgeted double-digit increases. In the year we're in, we're actually, I believe the increase was either a 10 or a 15% increase. The problem is the claims outpace the revenue. We all see the commercials every night on TV for the drugs that are out there. That's what's driving our claims. So it's the drug spend. It's not the unfortunate, the individual that goes to the hospital on a major illness, but we're seeing that it's just the drug spend. Now, to answer your question, one of the things that we as a district, so we're with a certain collaborative, the West Bay Health Collaborative. 2 years ago, we negotiated an RX rebate program where the collaborative as a whole, we bring in $30 million over a 3-year period, approximately $11 million a year. Of that $11 million, based on our Cranston's current spend of drugs, hopefully our annual take of that 11 million is about 4.5 million. So, and to answer your question, we're going to look at trying to maintain our claims, our spend, and bringing in rebate dollars. So the combination of those two events, hopefully the goal is to get out of the hole within a couple of years. But again, that's not something we can erase overnight.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you went to Middle Beach before the budget.
Agreed.
You're going to lose that tan.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Ryan, you had a.
I have no more questions, but I would just like to acknowledge the school committee members for coming here tonight, sitting here as soon as you got out of your meeting. Thank you. I know this deficit is very stressful on all of us. We've lost sleep, but we're working together. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm sure all the other council members share your opinion and your thanks. I do want to ask one question to the auditor, if he would come back up. He thought perhaps we've forgotten him. I do want to point out the fact, and I don't know whose fault it was, we received this binder so late. I know I spoke to you on the phone some time ago, and I did express some urgency about getting this delivered to us. And apparently it was delivered to the city hall, but we were never notified. We probably will, if it's okay with you and your company, ask you to come in again, especially I think it would be great if you sat before the audit committee. I know they're going to have some questions, but it's much easier to navigate this in the written form. All right.
I'm a paper guy too, so I get it.
So we may be calling you very soon. I just want to, but before I call for a motion to adjourn, on several, and Joe had talked to me about this a number of occasions, the accounting standards, the gas and the gap. If I heard you correctly, Cranston conducts its accounting and its books in a manner, I'm trying to say it properly, so I asked the question properly, in a manner that is consistent with those two agents that have standards for accounting and financial record keeping. Would you?
Correct.
That's pretty much what I thought I read in there, which basically what we could be guilty of is perhaps we, as we see, not budgeting as accurate as we could be, or not being able to foresee some of the situations that occur that maybe we won't. And perhaps that's, we have to look at these situations as Mr. Balducci said, these situations are going to occur again and again. And when we spoke about some of the overtime lines, they are going to occur again, and we're just going to have to budget it differently. So I thank you for coming in. I will probably ask you to come in again, and I know we'll be working through the finance director, finance chairman rather. Andy Hart, Councilman Andy, how would you like to say something? And I got it.
Just if we could have extra copies of the audit for our audit committee. You get a chance, we'll pick it up, so I'll coordinate with you
Okay.
by email.
Okay, so before I ask, let me just say one more thing. I want to wish a very, very happy birthday to school committee member and vice chairman Anthony Melillo. Happy birthday to you tonight. And many returns. And with that, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying nay. The ayes have it. Motion passes. This meeting is adjourned.